Fractions of an amount is what we're going to look at in this video. It's split into 3 parts. We're first going to start by looking at examples like this. We are then going to move on to looking at examples like this, where we have to work backwards to find the original number. We are then going to look at worded examples like this one here. So the way my videos work, I'm going to do the example on the left, which is I do. You are then going to press pause and have a go at the example on the right, which is you do. So here we've been asked to find 2/3 of 12. Now you can replace the of with the times sign, so I can rewrite this as 2/3 times 12. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. Either you can do 2 times 12 and then divide it by 3, or what I recommend you do is you do 12 divided by 3 first. If I do 12 divided by 3, so we can copy the same 2 over. If I do 12 divided by 3, that becomes 4, and the answer is 8. Now if you did it the other way, you could have done 2 times 12, which is 24, and then you divide that by 3, and the answer is still 8. It's just that this number becomes bigger, and sometimes it can be harder to work with. So hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at this. So the 3/5, the of becomes a times. Now, like I said, I would recommend dividing. So you would do 20 divided by 5. That gives me 3 times 4, and the answer is 12. Now, like I said, you could have done 3 times 20, but the number becomes quite big, which is 60. Then you divide it by 5, and then you still get the 12. But I recommend doing it like this. So here's some practice questions for you to have a go at. Press pause and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. So moving on, we now have to find the original number. So it's saying 1/5 of a number is 10. Find the number. So what it's saying is 1/5 of some number, let's just call it x, is equal to 10. Well, what is x? So the way we can do this is we can say, well, 1/5 is 10. Well, how do you work the 1 whole out? So if I get rid of the fraction, if I times each side by 5, so I've multiplied it by this here, right? And what does that do for the fraction? This now becomes a 1, and this now becomes 50. So we know the answer is 50, and we can test that, because if you put this value in there, is 1/5 of 50 10? Yes, because 50 divided by 5 would give you 10. Okay, so all we've done is got rid of the fraction and turned it into a 1. So again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at this. So it's saying 1/4 of some number is 5. Well, what is 1 whole is what we're trying to get to. And if I multiply each side by 4, that turns into a 1, and that turns into a 20. So now the original answer was 20. So again, here's some practice questions for you to have a go at. Press pause and have a go. Here are the answers. So moving on, now we have a fraction that doesn't have a 1 at the top, okay? So we now have 3/5 of some number is 6. So the first thing is the same, get rid of the fraction, times it by 5, times it by 5. So that then becomes 3, and 6 times 5 is 30. And now we have the 3, we want to get to 1, remember? How do we do that? Well, we can just divide this by 3, divide this by 3. So we know the original number is 10, and you can always test your answer. Is 3/5 of 10 equal to 6? Well, 10 divided by 5 is 2, so you're left with 3 times 2, which then becomes 6. So your answer is 10. So again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at the example on the right. So we have 2/3, it's 15. Again, we're going to get rid of the fraction, times it by 3, times it by 3. 15 times 3. So we know that 15 times 2 is 30. Add 15 to that, that gives us 45. And then we can just divide each side by 2 to get to the 1. And since it's an odd number, we'll end up with a decimal. So that then becomes 22.5. And 2/3 of 22.5 will give you 15. And you can again test that just by doing 2/3. And it's a little bit trickier this time because it's a decimal number, but it'll be the exact same thing. You divide that by 3 and then times it by 2. That's your answer there. So here's some practice questions for you to have a go at. Press pause and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. And now moving on to worded examples. So we're told that Ben has 20 streets. They are either blue or red. 2/3 of them are red. How many are red? So we know that, 3/4 are red. So that'll be 3/4 of the 20. So we can do 20 divided by 4, which is 5. If we copy the 3 down, that gives us 15. So we know there's 15 red streets. And we have 10 apples. They are either red or green. Again, hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at this. So we know that 3/5 of the 10 are red. So again, same thing, 3 times 2, we do the 10 divided by 5, which gives us 2, so the answer here is 6. So it's 6 are red. Hopefully you've pressed pause and had a go at these two. Here are the answers. So with these ones, now it's a little bit different. So we know he's got 20 streets that are either red or blue. We're told that 3/4 are red, but they want to know how many are blue. So you can take the exact same approach. You can do, well, actually 3/4 of 20, which would become 3 times 5 are 15. So we know that 15 are red, but that's not what the question's asking for. So we know there's 20 streets altogether. If 15 are red, then 20 minus 15, 5 must be blue. Because we've been told in the question, the streets are either red or blue, okay? There's no other color. So if 15 are red and there's a total of 20, then 5 must be blue. Now, the other way you could do this is if 3/4 is red, you know that 1/4 will be blue because the fractions must add up to 1. So you could have just done 1/4 of 20 as well, okay? So again, the question on the right, we've been asked for the number of green. We've been told how many are red. So 3/5 of 10. So that would become 3 times 2. So we know that 6 are red. The question's asking for green, so that's just going to be the total, which is 10. Take away 6, which is 4. So 4 are green. Again, press pause and have a go. Here are the answers. Mark your work. And if you would like a full worksheet on this, I'll link it down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the rest of our video.